Anglican, Eton, Frencher, Gopa, Hackbarth, Heidenreich, Holiday, Kamstra, Kuehler, Mahoney, Margaret, Mays, Moscar, Momini, Patel, Schnepp, Slade, Slater, Tansey, Topete, Vo. With that, we do have quorum this evening. We'll now move on to the Pledge of Allegiance led by Speaker Mahoney.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. With no program for the evening, we will move into open forum. This shall serve as an opportunity for students to speak about issues relevant to the student body. If any student is here for open forum this evening, you may approach the podium at this time. If no one is here for open forum, we'll move into adopting the agenda for this evening.
Mr. President, I move to add Senator Topete to the roll.
Is there any objection to adding Senator Topete to the roll? Seeing none, she shall be sat. Moving. Could you please read out the amendment? Is there any objection to adding 2022-3-006F into new business? Seeing no objections, the amendment shall be made. Is there a motion to pass or to adopt the agenda as a whole for this evening? Is there any objection to adopting tonight's agenda? Seeing none, it shall be adopted. We'll go into approval of the minutes from last meeting. Is there a motion to do so? Is there any objection to approving the minutes from last meeting? Seeing none, they shall be approved. Move into committee reports. Rules, Speaker Mahoney.
Hey everyone, so Rules had a pretty busy meeting on Monday. We saw a confirmation hearing for a senator for the College of Engineering. We're going to see his confirmation go in just a little bit. That passed favorably UC. We saw the constitutional amendment to the quorum, or to the Supreme Court quorum. That passed favorably UC. I don't think any amendments. We tabled the bill, right to a responsive representative. There was some more discussion basically we had. We had a long discussion about it. We'll see it in some form next week on second read, but we were just figuring out kind of some amendments to it and what we wanted to do with it, especially considering the bill authors on this committee anyways. Other than that, we continued that discussion about changes to elections, for elections for like speaker, for example, how we want that to look next year or next session, and a little bit of more conversation about another proposed constitutional amendment related to the Supreme Court that we might see some more conversation on next week. Other than that, we're going to start looking at the full rough draft of the Senate Rules of Order starting on Monday. It was going to be this last Monday, but I pushed it back in a week just given how busy we were on Monday with everything else that came up.
Are there any questions for Rules Committee? Seeing none, we'll move on to Finance with Director Claiborne.
Wow, this is a hot mic tonight. So we had the quite opposite. We had two line item transfers that were approved. Student Family Outreach Team, that was just to purchase more buttons. So when families do come, just a magnet, they're magnets, not buttons, that just say we are family. And then Cure, this is for Cure Fest. They had some funds that were unused that are going from a few line items to Cure Fest, and then also they had line item transfer for repair items that were both approved by Student Government Finance Committee and COA. So that was approved, and then annual is going well. This first week is almost done for budget help sessions. I've had 2 organizations come in a week. So if you know anyone who has any questions, please tell them that I am available. Also, I do need a clerk. Our clerk did leave, and I do not want to do the minutes after the meeting for annuals, or else I will pay myself. Sorry. That's conflict of interest, but I will pay myself. So if anyone wants to do minutes for finance, they are Tuesday, 4:30 to 9, and then Sundays, noon to 6. So you also get fed and you get paid $45 that day, for that day. So if you have any interest or know anyone who might be interested, please let me know. Also, next week will be a working meeting. That will be when Green Dot is here. So if you cannot attend the Green Dot meeting at 5 next week, send your email to Speaker Mahoney and Vice President Ulrich, and also CC me in it, just so I can get a head count and they know, so we can put that to Green Dot. So if you cannot come, please email those 3 people. And I think that is it. Any questions?
Questions for finance? Seeing none, thank you. We'll move on to PR with Director Haas.
Hi everyone. PR met yesterday for a short meeting. We got into subcommittees for Women's Day and the gaming tournament. And then we're also working on a lot of little projects as well. But that's about it.
Questions for public relations? Seeing none, we'll move on to diversity with Senator Frencher.
Hello. Yesterday, DEI committee met. Jordan Brooks sat in and listened to our meeting, the Director of Multicultural Student Success, and we learned how we can help him and how he can help us in our efforts. And then also, both of our subcommittees are making great progress on their town halls. We're trying to figure out what multicultural food we can get from small businesses and get them to cater our event. And then also we discussed ideas with Jordan to help improve DEI committee's social media content and maybe set up a good system for that.
Are there any questions for our diversity committee? Seeing none, we'll move on to student initiatives with Senator Mays.
Hello. So before I get into updates, I do want to say again that if you want to join Senate, or if you know anybody that would be interested in being an at-large, we have quite a few open positions, so just let me know. You can send me a message on Teams. Otherwise, I have kind of a general overview here of like the events that we're currently planning, as well as other initiatives that we're trying to do. So right now, the events that we're planning for the spring semester is we're trying to do an indoor game event. We're planning it for the 27th of March. So we have the space rented out now, and we're just gonna kind of plan what's going on within that space. We're also planning to do another Whoops and Wellness. We're gonna be working with the Vibe as well, which we've done in the past, so that'll be fun. We're planning another sexual assault awareness event. Since ours kind of fell through last year, we really wanted to pull something through this year, so that's gonna be in April. And then for other initiatives, these won't necessarily be events, but they're things that we want to do, and we might call upon Senate and stuff like that to kind of work with us on these. So we're going to have Chris Strawhacker is going to be coming to our meeting on Monday, and we're going to be talking about doing either another type of safety walk or doing something beyond safety walk, just related to safety on campus. And we're also going to have the Vibe visiting on Monday as well, potentially. And then we're maybe still going to try to do something with like accessibility services and things like that, since we've done the access walk in the past, but we're just not sure what buildings to do anymore, but that's something that's been in the talks. And yeah, if you have any other questions for me, just let me know.
Are there any questions for SI? Seeing none, we'll move on to local affairs with Senator Margaret. No reports. Sustainability with Senator Engelken.
Hello, hello. So the main thing I have, put this down in your calendars, is Sustainapalooza on February 21st from 5 to 8 p.m. There will be free food, and we are also tabling. Free food's really good. The lines weren't too long last time, and last time the food was so good. So So I'd ask you swing by, at least get food, say hi to us, look at the sustainable committees and clubs around campus. It's really neat. So yeah, that is it.
Are there any questions for sustainability? And finally, health and wellness with Senator Kuehler.
All right, hello everyone. This is, I think, only the second meeting that Charlotte or Director Everest has missed, so that's kind of impressive. So first update is that the Health and Wellness Symposium that happened last Friday was a massive success. There were well over 300 people that registered for the event, and I think it was so successful that they already have the exact date planned for next year, so that is February 2nd, 2024. And Charlotte also is going to ask all of you guys to come sit in a health and wellness meeting 4 to 5 every Wednesday in 2210. Senator Agba attended today, and Charlotte already gave him a project. It took like 10 minutes. And then the third thing is that Director Everest's product with the menstrual product dispensers for gender-neutral bathrooms has gotten the green light. So more on that to come. That is excellent news. And then the last thing is that the website, in conjunction with the daily, is going well. They estimate that they'll have like kind of a rough skeleton of the website to be available to be viewed early next week. So we'll be giving that to the committee for their feedback. And then we're also planning a town hall for student feedback on the website for March 6th at 6 p.m. in the Gold Room. So please mark that down on your calendars. And that's everything.
Sounds like there's a lot going on in health and wellness, and if senators are looking for a end-of-the-year project, talk to Director Everest and Senator Kuehler, it sounds like. So if there's no questions for health and wellness, we'll move on to comments from the judicial branch.
Good evening, everybody. Ooh, these are hot mics. So just a little news. We completed our arbitration between the Election Commission and the new executive slate. I assume you all know how that went, considering the candidates are now going to be on the ballot. In other news, I hope you guys all look favorably upon both the constitutional amendment that you're going to look at tonight and the poster funding bill, because the court would sure like to advertise our open seats and all of student government. So that's all I've got for tonight. Thank you.
Any questions for our judicial branch? Seeing none, we'll move on to comments from the student government advisor, Sophie.
Okay, everybody. A few updates. I'm so sorry. I have realized there's been some turnover in the organization, so I redid the student government listserv. So if from now on you don't get Eddie's agenda or the minutes next week, let me know ASAP. I'm going to go with 99.99% sure that everybody is on that needs to be on it. However, I want to make sure that I did not forget anybody. I thought it was easier than individually going through and trying to find people. It's a process thing. Beyond that, a secondary process thing is, I know everyone's favorite conversation is about the student government door. We love talking about it. You love listening to me talk about it. I worked with our office coordinator in student engagement, Bridget, to actually get a key card that will let you into the student government office. I keep the tenant information list updated. So even if you do not have door access at the moment because you are on the waiting list for the once a month update, you are able to give your ID to student engagement, and then they will give you the prox card that will be able to let you into the office. So even if no one is in there, which is highly unlikely, however, it happens, you are able to go to student engagement and get a key to get in. And beyond that, in just a couple of weeks, on the 25th, ISLE is happening. It's a partnership with the University of Northern Iowa and the University of Iowa. So it'll be actually at Iowa this year, and student engagement is helping coordinate that. Christine sent an email to all of you, so I would say take a look at it, and if you're available, I'd highly recommend attending. You'll get to meet other members from other regent institutions across the state. Probably someone's going to be in student government, but I can't make any promises, but I'm going to say it's highly likely. So if you have time on your calendar and that's something you're interested in, I would say check it out. Other than that, if you have any questions, want to meet to talk about anything, please let me know. My inbox is open and my calendar is now available to all of you because we're all on Outlook. So feel free to send me an email or schedule something through my bookings. Have a good meeting.
Quick question, just for students interested in ISLE, is there arranged transportation because it will be in Iowa City?
Yes, there is arranged transportation. I'm 90% sure it's like buses. Yeah, there's like multiple. So there would be transportation to and from. Yes, you check in and then go. You just show up. So, yeah. Great question, Jaden. Oh, Vice President Ulrich. There we go.
All right, were there any other questions for our advisor? Seeing none, we'll now hear comments from the executive branch from your twice-elected Vice President of SciRide, City of Ames Parks and Recreation Commission member, thrice-appointed SciRide representative to the Ames Area Metropolitan Planning Organization, and of course, your president of the ISU student body, Jacob C. Ludwig.
Please hold your applause. First up, I just want to say a quick thank you and congratulations to all the candidates that participated in the vice presidential debate last night. I know that it can be difficult to try and live up to the image of our sitting vice president, who is for sure the best vice president Iowa State's ever had. But good job to all the candidates. I thought it was a great debate, and a lot of good conversation came out of it. Additionally, the new episode of The State of Things is out. If you haven't listened to it already, it's been critically acclaimed by a number of people, such as the vice president himself, who said it was great, our director of marketing, Matthews, who said it was good, and our director of outreach, Shivraj, who said it was better. So, so I fully encourage you to go give it a listen. It's with Chief Noon. We talk about campus safety, in particular the Iowa State Safe app, and a number of other interesting topics. So go give it a listen. And you can also listen to our brilliant producer team talk about their song of the year for about 10 minutes. So all kinds of great content. In addition to that, met with President Winterstein earlier this week, along with Vice President Ulrich. Main topic was the strategic plan and the implementation of that. The university will soon be accepting proposals for the strategic plan. There's an amount of money that has been set aside by the president's office to fund some of those proposals. So if you have an idea that you think lines up with the strategic plan, you can certainly get a proposal together, and I would recommend you start that soon. All you will need is a staff or faculty liaison to be kind of the lead contact person for the proposal. But if you have any questions about that, feel free to reach out to me. I've also just been appointed to the Strategic Initiatives Committee, which will see those proposals. So again, I will have some context for you if you have any questions. The MU Development Committee met last week. We are continuing to discuss a couple of projects that are coming down the pipeline. Right now, the big question is whether or not we will have enough money for all of them. So I will keep you posted as things come or enter a deeper level of discussion. I just want to say another shout out for the Health and Wellness Symposium. Everyone on our committee and everyone in the Division of Student Wellness did a great job on putting that on. And Jada and I also met with the provost and assistant provost earlier this week to talk about a number of issues. Chief among them is new AI programs, things like ChatGPT, and what the university's position on it is. Primarily, the university is trying to see this as a learning tool rather than an obstacle in the classrooms and something to fight against. So they've been working with faculty and will continue to work with faculty and staff to find different ways to make use of these new AIs in the classroom, and they're trying to take a very positive and proactive approach to it all. Cabinet positions, we have a nominee here tonight for the Director of International Student Experience. I hope you will vote favorably for her. We are still looking for an ex officio, so if you are just so very bored on Tuesday nights, let me know. And then we still have a nominee for the Director of Affordability, but you will still have to wait another week now that the court has finished up its extracurricular activities. And you will actually also have a new nominee for the court next week to see. And that's all I got. So if you have any questions, please let me know.
Are there any questions for our executive branch? Seeing none, we will jump into the matters of the evening, starting in Internal Matters General Orders 2022-3-005-SZ, amending the Constitution to fix the Supreme Court's quorum with Vice Speaker Bruick.
Hey everyone, so this is our lab, wow. This is the amendment that we saw on first read last week to fix the Supreme Court's quorum. As I said, it is the culmination of my 3 and a bit years in this organization, finally fixing the problem that has dogged the court since the beginning. So as it currently stands, as the bill says, 6 justices have to be present, and that's regardless of how many justices there are. So if there are 5, the court can never meet. This fixes it to be tied to, I just lost my train of thought, to be tied to the number of justices that are seated as any other body in student government is. I think it's a pretty simple change, and I hope we can agree on it and get it on the ballot, and hope the students approve it come March 7th and March 8th. And I yield.
The floor is now open for any discussion and debate on the motion as a whole. Is there any objection to adding Senator Slade to the roll? Seeing none, they shall be added. Senator Tansey.
I'm just curious, how many justices are there right now?
There are 6, but as the president just announced, we will be seeing a candidate next week that you guys will be looking at. But it will be a problem in the future, possibly, because nearly all the justices will be rotating out when this semester is finished. So as it sits, there will be 2 people next fall.
Senator Gopa.
If there's going to be 2 people next fall, how would the 2/3 rule work? I yield.
Are you yielding your speaking privilege?
No.
Who are you posing your question to?
To Bruick.
I mean, it's just, you would just take 2 times 0.666 repeating, which would be 1, and then a bunch of decimals, and you round it up, as the bill says, so 2. You'd need both people. So it's just the math. Take that number and we'll divide it into 2/3. I mean, that's what you need. So 2. In the hypothetical situation, 2.
Senator Kamstra.
Has there been a consideration to add a minimum amount, given that there's like seats that'll be open, which is unfortunate, but in order for matters to like occur, like there needs to be at least like 3 or 4. That way 2 people couldn't like be 2 people couldn't necessarily like make decisions for the entire judicial branch.
I believe we discussed at length, the primary discussion in Rules Committee was whether to add a minimum. I know plenty of Rules Committee members were in favor of it. We didn't end up proposing an amendment. I'm welcome to have that amendment be made and we can discuss it. I'm personally opposed to it because in any instance, no other body of the student government has that minimum requirement. There could be 10 senators, there could be 5 senators, there could be 1 senator, and that's a Senate. They'd be perpetually voting on vice speakers because you can't not have a vice speaker or a speaker, and it wouldn't function, but it could still meet. I don't see why we would impose an extra requirement on the Supreme Court just because it feels like it could get low. I mean, it's not like any other body. And more to the point, vast majorities of legal decisions in this country are made by judges at the trial court level where there is just one judge. And I mean that, you know, thousands of dollars change hands and people's freedom are affected by it. I just don't see that having too few justices is that big of a problem in the end. And if we are at that point, I think we have a bigger institutional problem.
Senator Cecil.
Just for the benefit of the body, I was in favor of adding a minimum in rules when we were discussing it, and since then I've had a change of heart on that one, just because it's any justice on the court is, I don't know the word, the president chooses them and then we confirm them, and so if we do our jobs correctly, that's not going to be a concern. So I don't think it makes sense to have a minimum, just because then it'll further restrict it. And if we're actually doing our job, it's not going to be a big deal because they should remain unbiased and it won't be an issue. So,
Senator Kuehler.
I can kind of add to the discussion here. My opinion on this is in line with Vice Speaker Bruick. And I think something that Vice Speaker Bruick didn't mention, but I think that's fair to state, is that if the court is ever at a point where there's like 1 or 2 members, I think we have bigger problems on our hands. And that, we also discussed this in Rules Committee, but that there has been an instance at least once in recent memory. It's only happened once where there was 1 justice on the court, but that was a very extreme instance of that happening. And ideally, with kind of the pandemic subsiding and things kind of going back to normal, that hopefully wouldn't be a concern. So that's kind of a little bit of extra reasoning as to why Rules Committee didn't really propose that amendment. With that, I yield.
Is there any further debate on the motion as a whole? Question has been called for and seconded. Is there any objection to any debate now? Seeing none, we will move into a roll call vote. We do need 2/3 of seated senators to vote in favor for this motion to pass, which is 19. When I call your name, please say yes, no, or abstain. Agba. Yes. Becker. Yes. Bruick. Yes. Burks. Yes. Cecil. Yes. Dre. Yes. Engelken. Yes. Etten. Yes. Frencher. Yes. Gopa. Yes. Hackbarth. Yes. Heidenreich. Yes. Holliday. Yes. Kamstra. Yes. Kuehler. Yes. Mahoney.
Yes.
Margaret. Yes. Mays. Yes. Moskar. Yes. Momini. Yes. Schnepf. Slade. Yes. Slater. Yes. Tansey. Yes. Topete. Yes. And Vo. With a vote of 26 to 0, the motion carries. We'll now move into Special Orders 2022-3-014 SC, confirming the nominee for Director of International Student Experience with Speaker Mahoney.
So the nominee wants to approach the podium. President Ludwig has nominated an individual, so I will let her talk about herself and why she wants the position, qualifications, kind of all that jazz.
Hi everyone, my name is Mia Kawamitsu. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I'm a junior at Iowa State, double majoring in journalism, mass communication, and international studies. And I have applied for the Director of International Student Experience position. So with the international community on campus, my experience so far, I've been a part of the International Student Council since my first semester at Iowa State. I first served as an outreach ambassador, and then my most recent position was serving on the executive board for a whole year. And with ISC, I've worked very closely with school administrators, student government leaders, and also other multicultural organizations on campus. And on top of that, I've worked, again, closely with ISSO, which is the International Student and Scholars Office. And I've represented ISC at the ISSC, which is International Student Success Collaborative, which is a university committee mainly made up of administrators, again, within ISSO and also other areas of campus, such as like colleges, career services, and whatnot. And so I've worked closely with international students through the student organization as well as on an administrative level. And then I also was I've also helped lead a class called IFYE, which is UST 110, I believe. But that is, IFYE stands for International First Year Experience, and it's a class that all international students have to take. So through that class, I was able to build a lot of relationships with international students directly, and have learned a lot from them on what issues they have faced and their experience, not just in Ames and at Iowa State, but Iowa and the United States as a whole. And then most recently, I studied abroad in Seoul, South Korea this past semester. So I kind of got to experience being an international student for the first time when I was at Korea University. So I've also kind of gained some experience and more understanding of what issues international students might be facing when they're at Iowa State or in the United States in general. And so I have a lot of ideas that I hope we can implement through this role to better the campus for international students. Some of those being continuing town halls for specifically international students. I know that we had that through ISC, which organized it a couple semesters ago. And then also the shuttle bus project that the previous director, Tom Sun, he worked on a lot. And I collaborated with him on that project, again, through my role with ISC. And so I think those two projects are things that we've seen a lot of good work with. I'm not sure if everyone's familiar with the shuttle bus project, but basically we were able to fund I believe 50 tickets for international students to be able to transport themselves over winter break from Ames to Des Moines Airport. A lot of students who are international students specifically don't have a car or aren't able to, be able to go to the airport to go back home to see family. And so that was one of the biggest issues, and that was very successful. So I think that's something that I would like to continue if given this position. Some other things are tuition transparency and also scholarship transparency. So with those issues, starting with tuition, international student tuition is the highest out of in-state and domestic or out-of-state. And I'm sure there are logistical reasons as to why it's higher, but a lot of students don't know why. And so I think, I don't think there's anything we can change regarding the price of the tuition, but just being able to clear the air and have administrators or the university kind of explain or break down why or what their money is going towards and why would be something that would ease a lot of international students' minds on, where their money's going, why it's worth, being at Iowa State and paying this much. Another thing is with scholarships, there are just very few scholarship opportunities for international students. And again, I believe, from my understanding, that's a federal issue with ICE, that they just aren't able to fund money to international students for some reason. That's something that I would like to look more into if I proceed with this project. But again, with this transparency, I think it would just be nice for students to know why there are no scholarships for them. And I want this project to be able to, better the relationship between the university and international students, because maybe they are wondering, maybe this university doesn't want to help, support my education here through scholarships. So just having like a general statement is my idea with this, to be able to tell them these are the reasons why we are unable to provide more scholarships than we already do, and possibly, maybe find a loophole. I know ISC provides an annual scholarship, but we're only able to fund maybe $3,000 per year since we're a smaller organization. So maybe being able to find more funding for that as well would be nice. Moving forward with my last two projects that I have in mind. One of them is a student organization club fest, specifically for international and multicultural organizations. I, as a student as well, knowing that there's like 900 organizations on campus, I know Ames or Iowa State loves to talk about that. That's overwhelming as a domestic student, and to try to find a community within that, I'm sure everyone, it takes some time. And so I think one thing, especially since COVID has happened, international students have had a really has had struggles with finding a community that they feel they belong to. And so I think that maybe having a separate club fest that's more focused or tailored to these specific organizations might help them with that struggle. And I think this would be a great project to collaborate with the DEI committee with, and also ISSO as well. And then lastly, I would like to see an international movie be played for Cyclone Cinema. I think that's just one quick and easy way. I don't want to say easy, but one great way or simple way in my eyes to kind of show. I think it would benefit both domestic and international students to be able to be exposed to more, international cinema, international culture, and also for, international students to be able to, see maybe something from home as well. And I think that would be really beneficial for campus as a whole. So those are kind of my projects that I have in mind, and I'm open to questions on things I've done in the past and why I would like this position. Thank you.
The floor is now open for debate on the motion as a whole. Senator Slade.
I just wanted to voice my support for Mia. She is coming into this position with so many initiatives, and that is so reassuring, and that is so amazing to hear. I think that she's going to do a lot of good for student government and a lot of good for this university and the international community, and I encourage you all to vote her into this position. Thank you.
Senator Agba.
I would also like to vote, show my support. I think the Multicultural Club Fest is something that I've been wanting to work on for a while, and I would love to see it to fruition. I yield.
Senator Keeler.
I guess I would like to echo the sentiments of Senator Slade and Senator Agba. I agree. I loved all of the projects and stuff that you mentioned. It sounds awesome. The only, I guess, slight concern I have is that given that there's only 2 months left in the term, how would you go about prioritizing all of the projects you listed to actually accomplishing all of the amazing stuff that you did?
I know, I wish we had more time in the semester to get all these projects into fruition, but I think one of the major important ones is the shuttle bus project, especially with summer coming along and a lot of international students going back home over the summer. I think that's something that we already have a good foundation of because it's happened in the past. And so kind of, I've talked to the president and vice president during my interview about this project, but kind of working towards making it a sustainable project, and hopefully see have the longevity of the project. So even after my term, if given the position, the next person can continue it. And then I would say the same thing with the other projects, the town hall. That's something that we've done in the past as well. And then with scholarship or the scholarship and tuition transparency, I also believe that those are more, again, maybe after further research or working with administrators, it might be more tricky than I am imagining, but that's not something that we're trying to fix necessarily, just something to have a statement so that people understand regarding financial reasons, why they can't get more scholarships and just a breakdown. I think hopefully the university already has that breakdown to provide and provide that transparency. But if not, I think these projects I think would love for the next person to take on as well. I'm just here to give the ideas, I suppose, and then. So yeah, those are, I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
With that, I yield.
Senator Hackbarth.
Hi. Okay. So.
Sorry, I can't find you.
I'm over here. I'm right
okay,
next to the two people who have just asked you questions. So sorry. So my only question is that you have all of these amazing projects lined up, and you have so many qualifications to complete them. Instead of saying like the next person to take these on, would you consider running for this position again for this upcoming year so that you can see more of these projects come to fruition?
I would love to. I have one last year at Iowa State, and I've dedicated my entire time at Iowa State so far to bettering the international student community, and I would love to be a part of student government through this role to, you know, see these projects that I have in mind come to fruition. So yeah, if hopefully that answers your question as well.
Thank you. I yield.
Is there any further debate on the motion as a whole? Question has been called for and seconded. Is there any objection to closing debate now? Seeing none, we'll move into a vote. All unanimous consent has been called for. Is there any objection to passing this motion by way of unanimous consent? Seeing none, congratulations, the motion carries.
Thank you.
Vice Speaker Bruick. Is there any objection to adding Senator Eisman to the roll? Seeing none, he shall be sat. We'll now move on to 2022-3-015SD, confirming the nomination of an engineering senator with Senator Kuehler.
All right, hello guys again. So Engineering Student Council has nominated Eric Brown to fill the vacancy we have. He appeared in Rules Committee on Monday, sent favorably by way of unanimous consent. We all believe he's very qualified, but I'll let him speak on his qualifications and why he wants to run for Senate.
Hello, everyone. My name is Eric Brown, and I'm a junior in mechanical engineering. So as soon as I got into Iowa State, I was very motivated by making a change. I took a couple semesters deciding what I wanted to do, and one of the things I saw as the best way to change myself and opportunity to change everyone else was joining the Greek community. Started off as the community service person for my fraternity, and while I was during the community service semester that I spent, I rose the hours from the previous semester at 50 to 496 in the next semester. Doing so, I was very active in the Ames community. I have spoken to a lot of people in the Ames government, and this is where my interest became into the student government. Now I'm standing here as chapter president of my fraternity, and I want to make an even bigger difference, not only for my fraternity, but as the Iowa State community, the Greek community, and the Ames community. After talking to Senator Kuehler, one of the communities I was very interested in was the local services. And that was one I've always had passion for when I was just as a freshman, but now I want to expand that role. I want to work with IFC. I want to work with Senator Kamstra and get more of the Greek community involved with the day-to-day operations at Iowa State. I believe there is a lot of potential with the Greek community. I believe that a lot of people can do good work within that community, as right now there's about 2,000 people, and most of them don't do the work that we represent ourselves as. I know there's a lot of people in my fraternity that don't do that, and I'm sure there's the same as every other fraternity. And I want to see that change. I want to see people highly motivated to make a difference, and I want to see more people to make a difference in the Greek community at Iowa State and just for everyone in Ames as general. Thank you.
With that, we will move into debate, starting with Speaker Mahoney.
So while a lot of senators do cross-cut across constituencies a lot, I know even though I'm a graduate senator, I do help with Res Hall all the time and other colleges. I did want to just ask you if you could touch on some of the stuff you would want to work with specifically within the College of Engineering, as that would be the constituency that you'd be representing. If you could speak on stuff that you may want to work on within College of Engineering or working with Engineering Student Council and the other engineering senators.
So with the College of Engineering, I just want to kind of figure out what I can and can't do. Personally, I don't really know because I am brand new to all this, and I will spend the time to learn from the other senators and from other people on the Engineering Council. I would really like to see a lot of more of things for engineers to go out and meet people. That is something that engineers as a whole kind of lack in, is a lot of them spend a lot of time in their rooms studying, but I would like to see more opportunities for them to build leadership skills, build other skills within Iowa State.
Yeah, and of course, it's perfectly okay to not have a good answer, but I love that. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Senator Holliday.
Hi, Eric. So my question for you tonight is, in engineering, mental health is a big topic right now. Just over the past semester and a half, engineering has came out with the Keep Calm and Engineer On platform in relation to mental health. How can you assist with this? Because it comes off almost in the wrong angle of saying we need to ignore how our mental health is doing. So how can you help the constituents you are representing to understand and reach out to use their resources?
I think it kind of starts off with just getting more than just engineers to go to there, working with just more like I said with the Greek community, getting them to show and recognize that mental health is an issue, and then maybe once this entire community that has a lot of voice within Iowa State, they start doing more of the mental health side, they start promoting it, then we can get other people to go out and go through mental health seminars and try to get more of the engineers who are a little bit more docile, a little bit more introverted to actually go out and explore this, because everyone is affected by it. And yeah. Mm-hmm.
Senator Kuehler.
I guess I will pose the same question I posed to our now Director of International Experience. So given that there is only 2 months left in the term, I guess, how are you planning to prioritize your projects, get that done in the time you have left, and would you consider running for the seat to continue your tenure in Senate?
So I really, like I said before, I'm very new to this. I want to learn from everything. I want to learn from the Engineering Council. I want to learn from the StuGov as a whole. And from the meeting time that I've here, it was something I'm interested in. So yes, I would plan to run for something in the next 2 months.
All right, thank you very much. I yield.
Senator Dre.
All right. I just wanted to address the body and say that from my personal experience with Eric and different mutual connections that we've had on campus, I can speak to his character and that he's been a really organized and well put together guy. And so I do recommend that we elect him to this position, especially because that's the kind of person we're looking for and there are openings. So.
Senator Engelken.
Hi, Eric. So we have a lot of different committees within student government, and as a senator, you'd have to join one of them. Are there any that you're interested in?
The local affairs one.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Question has been called for and seconded. Is there any objection to closing debate now? Seeing none, we will move into a vote. All those in favor, unanimous consent has been called for. Is there any objection? Yes. To passing this motion by way of unanimous consent? Seeing none, congratulations. The motion carries. Yeah, if Senator Braun, if you can please remain at the podium, we will have our Chief Justice swear you in.
I solemnly swear or affirm
I solemnly swear and affirm
to execute the duties of my position
to execute the duties of my position
as prescribed in the Constitution
as prescribed in the Constitution
and the laws of the government
and the laws of the government
for the benefit of all students.
for the benefit of all students.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Is there a motion to add Senator Braun to the roll? So moved. Is there any objection to adding Senator Braun to the roll? Seeing none, he shall be sat. We'll now move on to new business 2022-3-006F, funding student government Supreme Court poster advertising with Senator Eisma.
Hi, everybody. Hello. Okay, I think it's good. Hi, everybody. This bill is for funding for the Supreme Court with posters advertising for their open seats. The amount that they're asking for is being that there's 288 locations for posters across campus. That's just a number that they're asking for, and then being that it's $1.20, it shouldn't be a whole lot to ask for Senate, and I can answer any yes or no questions.
Are there any questions of intent for Senator Eisma?
Do you intend to also pay for the $15 flyer distribution?
No.
Vice Speaker Bruick.
Senator Eisma, do you intend to kind of, I don't know what the word is, but fill in where that little ellipsis is? You guys plan to fix that? I just was curious.
Yes.
Slag. I yield.
Senator Gopa.
Do you intend to try out other forms of marketing before trying out the posters?
No.
Are there any further questions of intent for the bill? Seeing none, that wraps up the business. We will move into closing announcements. Does anyone have a closing announcement for the evening? I see Director Claiborne.
Hold on, I was not prepared for this. Hold on. Just a reminder, Cardinal Eats, again, we funded them last semester. We'll fund them this coming year, hopefully. Again, just a reminder that they have the release party at Daytime Diner by West Ames Hy-Vee at 5 p.m. on the 11th. Also, my finance committee senators, please email me or anyone if you want to go to finance and there is food. Please let me know if you have any allergens. I don't want anyone to have an allergic reaction while we do annuals, please. That would be the worst thing to happen. Thank you.
Advisor Sophie.
Hello, just super quick announcement. If you were confirmed tonight, if you could come over and see me after the meeting, I'm just gonna add you to all the stuff. So, yeah.
Chief of Staff Roberts.
Good evening. I'm going to try and do my best impression of Emily here. But first, 65 days. Yeah, this is going to get more depressing each time. That's how much time you've got until the end of your term. So, again, I'm going to get a little bit more desperate each time. If you have an idea, start yesterday and talk to me now. Or Sophie, or a committee chair, or chief officer. I really implore you to make the most out of the time that we have left together. But moving on from there, the lectures series has a couple of upcoming events and lectures that I would recommend you all see. On February 15th in 3560 of the Memorial Union, you can catch A History of the World in 7 Cheap Things with Raj Patel. On February 20th at 7 p.m. in the Great Hall, which I think is a Wednesday, so this is more aspirational than anything else, but Cool Technologies to Cool the Planet with Dr. Bernardo Del Campo. And on the 22nd of February, Poetry as a Wedge into the World with Michael Walsh. That is on the 22nd in 3560 of the Memorial Union. And lastly, the director of the Memorial Union, Steve Winfrey, has asked me to form a committee to review some bids from potential vendors in the MU food court. So if you have any interest in that, I'll be sending out an email later tonight requesting you to respond to that email. And then that committee will meet sometime in a couple of weeks once the bids have been submitted to the Memorial Union, review the different companies that have made offers, and then we will give feedback as students as to preferences between the different restaurants that might be applying. So that's all I got. Great debate tonight. Have a good night.
Sophie? Keep going. Director Matthews.
Hello, everyone. Happy first meeting for me as director of marketing. I'm so glad I was upset that I wasn't here last week, but couple things. One, I had Eddie link a form to for committee people to fill out if they need any graphics made or any advertisement throughout the MU. Please fill that out, and then if there's any questions, I'll reach out to you, or you guys can reach out to me. Fill out that form though, because that would be much appreciated. 2, committee chairs, please check the committee chair chat. Por favor, request from Sundar. Number 3, if you dressed in red, please stay for the picture. Red, white, or pink, please stay for the picture. And thank you guys for dressing like that. Dressing, yeah, okay, words, cool. Thank you, that's it.
Chief Justice?
65 days is plenty of time for any of you to come to us for help. So if you have any questions about bylaws, constitution, or need an interpretation, come to the court. You can always reach me by my email or my phone number, which are in the MIS, or any of the other justices via their emails.
Are there any further closing announcements for the evening? If not, I do have a few. To go off of what Chief Justice and Jacob have said, if you don't have an idea or your own personal project, between Jacob and I and in cabinet, there's lots going on. And so if you want your hand in that pot to jump onto a project, there's lots going on. Please reach out if you want to do something in those last 65 days. And then if Senator Eisma, Frencher, and Braun can see me after the meeting, that'd be wonderful. And with that, Vice Speaker Bruick.
Hi, everyone. I don't have too much, but I would like to begin by reminding you all that in 315 days, it will be our Vice President Jaden Ulrich's birthday. So let's give him a round of applause for that. It's coming up. He'll be turning the big 7. So, but other than that, we have a working meeting next week that I'm not leading. So thankful for that. You know, can actually sit and enjoy what's going on rather than stress and present. It's pretty cool. Thank you for passing the constitutional amendment. It is of deep emotional importance to me because I always struggled with that when we were on the court, and it was, you know, it was lame. So glad we can make the court work a little better. Hopefully, please, students, pass it. Like I said, we have a few things with the rewrite coming up, and I do plan on doing a few programs on some of the details of the nitty-gritty of that and annuals, like order. So look out for that. And mentors, do your thing. Mentees, listen to your mentors. Listen to what they're wanting you to do. Unless it's lame, then you can ignore it. With that, I yield to Speaker Edward Riley Mahoney.
Yep, just as everyone has said, we do have that working meeting next week, so please remember to reach out or send an email to me, Vice President Ulrich, and Finance Director Claiborne if you won't be able to make it, 5 o'clock next week in here for Green Dot. Other than that, if any of you are considering running for Senate next year, just a reminder, Senate intent forms are due February 17th, and you do have to attend a Senate informational session. I think there's still several left. I just went to mine today, right before Senate. There's information on the website, I believe, about that, and on the Instagram, as well as there's the flyer in the office that has all the rest of the dates on it. If you have any questions about that, obviously feel free to reach out to me, or feel free to reach out to Election Commissioner Cody. As well as that, if you want to stay in student government, but don't want to be a senator anymore, I consider you also think about director positions you might be interested in for next year's cabinet, all that stuff. Start having conversations, start talking to people if you have any interest in continuing in your student government career. Couple that, we do have to get on the executive ballot, slates have to get 750 signatures. I'm waiting on getting the QR code from the newest slate, but expect an email in your inbox in the next couple days with all 3 of the slates. We want to just have everybody on the ballot, in my opinion, because democracy good. So please, when you see that email, fill out the QR codes for all 3 people so we can get everybody on the ballot, and I encourage you to have your friends fill out all 3 as well, just so we can have everybody on the ballot, because I think everybody should be. Finally, if you are, well, just everybody, we're going to get a picture for Valentine's Day after this. Right in the middle here, we've done pictures like this before, so if everybody can stay after, we can grab a quick picture. With that, move to adjourn, go Cyclones.
Roll clones. This meeting is adjourned.